There's a mindset in the United States of America. It's this sick sense of humor. It's a very old, sick sense of humor. My example is this. I'm named after a man, Leo, who is my great-grandfather. Leo's last name in German is supposed to mean schoolhouse, pronounced something like Schulhasse. I don't speak German. However, my middle name is Shellhaze, not Schulhasse. Shellhaze is what they did when he came to the United States, and they changed his name on paper when they entered him into the United States as a worker. That's that sick sense of humor. Leo Shellhaze worked in a factory for his career in West Virginia, then moved to Pittsburgh to be with his daughter, who was my great-grandmother, who was my grandmother, Elizabeth Shellhaze, also known as Betty. A more recent example of this sick sense of humor, that seems to be really focused on the Americas, the United States of America, this whole sick country that was founded primarily on slavery, rape, genocide, deception, and honestly, cannibalism. When the first settlers came here, they were unable to catch animals in the woods because of the smell of the European. And the Native Americans here, if we want to use that term, decided not to help them, I guess, because they were sick people and evil people. And they ate their own people at the camp. Jamestown, they ate their own people. And as the natives watched them kill their own people and eat them, they knew that it was a sick, evil group of people. Anyway, a more recent example is when I worked as a job coach, also called an employment specialist. I worked primarily with individuals with severe disabilities that had many barriers for their lives, including employment. And I helped them find employment when I could. And I did that for over 10 years. I also worked with Department of Corrections in the Commonwealth of Virginia. And we did pre- and post-release work. I did pre- and post-release work personally in Coffeewood, Lunenburg, and Haynesville, which are all prisons in Virginia. And one of the people that I helped, his name was Ricardo. And that sick sense of humor, for the 8 years that he was incarcerated, his name was Richard. The guards liked to call him Richard to upset him. That's that sick sense of humor that United States of America has instilled in its people. That sick sense of humor that finds people chuckling at suffering and sees suffering as entertainment, such as people I grew up around who'd make stupid comments and jokes on my social media when I was hurting and homeless, which I still am hurting and homeless. I live 20 minutes now from where I grew up in a suburb of Washington, D.C. Now I'm here in the city. This will be my third winter homeless in Washington, D.C. Yet for some reason, all these people who called me brothers till the end as a child don't ever come to visit me. Some of these folks are very, very successful. My problem is many problems that I have. What we have come from is a pugilistic society, meaning a society that likes to fight. We've come down through the Greek and Roman empires, sick societies who incorporated slavery and brothels and enforced military service. That's a problem because they still try to do it today. This pugilistic society led to a penal system. Think about that. I'm going to let the siren take you away as I take myself up to Capitol Hill. And you know, as an aside, a really good example of the sick sense of humor in the United States of America was portrayed in the movie Blazing Saddles by director Mel Brooks. When two men of darker skin pigmentation, commonly referred to today as black, were sinking while building a railroad line. They were sinking in quicksand out west. The quicksand was engulfing them. And in that movie, the white overseers of the work crew threw a rope, hooked it to the piece of equipment that was sinking into the quicksand, and saved the equipment while they were going to let the two black men die in the quicksand. The amount of breakage to my heart, soul, and spirit to apply that to reality from a satire movie made here in modern times of cinema, reflected back to 150 years ago, breaks my mind, heart, spirit, soul, and existence in half. To know that that is the attitude of the founding of the United States. Save the equipment, save the business, make progress with the railroad line, and let the employees, the workers, die in the quicksand. The sick, evil mindset that founded the United States of America boggles my modern thinking mind, if you want to be able to call what I have as that. Now, you know, it's relatively common knowledge that the slave master used to rape their women and sell their children, their own children, as products on the marketplace. You gotta wonder, did those same slave masters, did they also teach their sons to impregnate the young slaves and then sell the child to teach the son to be a cold-hearted, sick-minded person? That's in my mind. Then you have to understand there was a thing called buck breaking. They would also rape the men, which has led to this male gang rape libido in the United States. It's kind of hidden somewhat within the prison system, also in the military system, also in secret society type systems. So that's a real strange thing to think about, buck breaking. What's even sicker to think about is that we do live in this pugilistic society with a penal system. Penal system, penis, penal, prisons. After slavery, the first prison was founded in Louisiana, the first federal prison. That was their answer to not being able to have slavery. Let's have federal prisons and just start incarcerating all the men who were intimidating or a danger to us, who are of darker skin complexions and easy to pick out in a crowd. This same system encourages fighting and competition, fighting to the death, and the sick-minded founders used to have what's called Mandingo fighting. Mandingo fighting meant that they would have two men fight to the death in front of them as entertainment. This harkens back to the Colosseum days of Rome, when they would get masses and hordes of people to come into the Colosseum and give them free bread and let them watch human beings kill each other or be killed by animals. Anyways, I just keep thinking and wondering when will this change? And why does the American flag have 7 red stripes on it that represent 7 red stripes of blood? Commonly known as whip stripes back in the day. Those crackers, those whip crackers. Happy Indigenous Peoples Day. Secret Service. Look.